Let's take this mass-produced sewing table and turn it into a one-of-a-kind piece of furniture art. But first, we gotta put it together.
I don't know why, but I think it's so funny. Like, can you see? The company I got it from just decided they were gonna scribble. Like, it says EN and they scribbled it with a pen. An EM. I don't know, I just thought it was a fine addition.
I did run into some issues while assembling this because some of the holes were not properly drilled in place. They were slightly off and I had to really force some of the pieces, but in the end it came together and it's holding up nicely. So I got everything fully assembled, and I already put all of my paint up in here, and it's so awesome. I color coordinated everything. So this is going to make a big difference during all of my arts and crafts projects, just having this organized. I am going to fix it up the way it's more aesthetic in here, but for the most part I just need to be functional. I'm going to leave the top and the side alone, but I don't want to affect it when it's fully spread out, so I'm going to leave this side and the top alone. I'm going to do a light stuff sand on this door and this other side, and then I'm going to prime it and get it going. Now that the primer is all dry, I'm going to go in with Willow, which is this very nice light green. I'm just going to go ahead, call it for now, and then when I come back to it, I'm going to fill out some molds and then add some more interest, the way it's not just flat. Fill out more interest on the door and on the sides, the way it's not just completely flat. I might add a raised stencil design. I'm not completely sure yet. I'm just going to plan everything out, head to bed, and then we'll figure out later. Alright, so I've been thinking this design over, and I decided I will be using some air dry clay to make the little molding, just because I'll have way more options and creativity with that. I wanted to just use the resin, but that would leave me stuck with the molds I have instead of being able to splice them and create a whole new look for this. So I will be using these two birds. They are a little different, but with the right coat of paint they'll match up really well, and then they'll be on the sides. I was going to hand paint them on, but they'll have more detail in a shorter amount of time if I just do it that way, so I am. And I also grabbed a bunch of different stencils I'm going to pick and choose from as I go along. I'm thinking about adding these little bird ones, maybe on the inside of the doors. And for the raised stencil design, I'm definitely thinking something floral, or these vines look very nice. I'm not thinking of it being continuous all the way down. I think maybe I'll go for an aged, weathered look and just have some in certain places. But yeah, we'll go for it. I started by making all of my decorative pieces. It's always one of my favorite parts because it feels a bit like gathering ingredients before cooking a meal. There's something really satisfying about pouring resin into molds and seeing all those tiny details appear later. The corner pieces ended up being air-dry clay instead of resin. Sometimes a project starts telling you what it needs, and this one wanted a mix of materials. I'm going to go ahead and start adding the raised stencil design with the joint compound. I'm going to add this to the middle.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden road, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never.
Okay, so I have all of the raised stencil design on the sides here.
And for this extra texture, I just put some joint compound on my glove and spotted it around, and I'll give it an aged texture to it and blend out any of the edges from the stencils. I am going to do a light sand over it to get rid of any parts that are a little too raised or pointy, and then that part will be done. But for now, I'm going to start gluing out my molds. So I got these little zigzag pieces that I put a good bit of work into out of clay. And these are going to be our corners. And of course the trim. So let's get started. I was originally going to put both the birds at the top, but I decided I'm going to put one bird at the bottom, one at the top.
Help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now.
It's finally time to start painting, guys. I sanded it down. I filled up all those weird gaps. So now I'm going to start laying out the base colors. I'm definitely going to put some lotus flowers and water, all of that in the center here. I'm going to hand paint it. And hopefully I don't regret not sketching things out. And I'm going to just throw colors everywhere, really messy, for a basic underpainting on the whole piece. I gave the birds a dark blue base coat first because I wanted all those little details to stand out later. I knew I wanted birds on this piece from the very beginning. I don't know what it is about birds, but if I can add one to a project, I usually will. Now I'm layering lighter colors over everything. The pale blues, a soft orange, and a creamy almond tone. I'm making sure that I add all of those highlights and shadows that will really make this bird pop. This is probably the hardest thing for me to explain because I'm not really following strict rules when I paint. I'm mostly just responding to what feels right. If something feels too flat, I add another color. If something feels too dark, I lighten it up. It's a lot of experimenting and hoping my future self knows what she's doing. Of course, there were plenty of moments where I had to repaint things and blend things and repaint them again. That's just part of painting. I keep going until I was satisfied with all the tones and colors peeking through.
It's so strong. generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your.
Now we're at the longest part of the project, the lily pads, the lotus flowers, the endless painting. This part took a while, a long while. Sometimes repetitive painting can be really relaxing. You stop thinking about everything else and just focus on the brush in your hand. As I worked on these flowers, the whole theme finally started coming together.
Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now.
Up until this point, I knew exactly what I wanted in my head. Now I could actually see it. I wanted this piece to feel like a quiet pond garden. The kind of place where everything feels still. Maybe early in the morning before everyone else is awake.
Can't kill what I've become. I scream until I'm numb. Now with the summer skies, you're gone.
The lotus flowers became the stars of the piece. Every time I added one, the table felt more alive.
There's nothing I can do or say to get to you. Now I don't know where I belong. I'm screaming at the ceiling. Every word's a twisted feeling. Feelings I can't let go. Oh, the thunder keeps calling. The raindrops won't stop falling. Falling down in a hole. That love lies in my head, 'cause I fell for all you said. Too easy.
Honestly, it was really hard to blend out all of these colors. The paint kept drying out rapidly. But I kept going, kept adding, kept mixing more paint until I had the blend I was happy with.
Dark clouds won't let me forget. I don't know why I let it get to me. It gets to me.
It was also challenging painting something that was standing up like this. I usually lay my paintings flat on the floor, so having it stand up was very interesting. It was like painting on the wall. So the entire time I had to be very careful to make sure I didn't mix it to the point where it was too runny. So I just kept going and adding more and more, because the more I added, the more I was happy with it. The more I added, the more it all just became magical with each and every lily pad, each and every lotus flower.
Can't kill what I've become. I scream until I'm numb. Now with the summer skies, you're gone. There's nothing I can do or say to get to you. Now I don't know where I belong. I'm screaming at the ceiling. Every word's words a twisted feeling. Feelings I can't let go. Oh, the thunder keeps calling. The raindrops won't stop falling. Falling down in a hole. Let love lies in my head, 'cause I fell for all you said. Too easy. Dark clouds won't let me forget. I don't know why I let it get to me. It gets to me. 'Cause I think of you every time it rains. One drop is all it takes. And it's pouring, it's pouring, it's pouring, it's pouring, it's pouring, it's pouring, keeps pouring and pouring. I'm screaming at the ceiling. Every word's a twisted feeling. Feelings I can't let go. And the thunder keeps calling. The raindrops won't stop falling. Falling down in a hole. I don't know why I let it get to me. It gets to me.
I really took my time layering all the greens and the blues to have the closest tones to each other. Since I had to keep remixing all of the paint, their tones vary, but they were similar enough the way I could be happy. We're getting closer and closer to finally reaching the end of our garden. And for our final little touches, I had to have added a couple smaller little lotuses for the background. It adds just the right amount of depth in all kinds of dimensions. And the fact that the whole thing is hand painted makes it very organic in the best ways possible.
I swore I'd block your number for good, but here you are texting me you up. I know exactly where this is, on your side of the bed at 3 a.m. I tell myself
Blending everything with paint was taking way too long, so I went over it with oil pastel and blended it out with paint thinner, and that worked so much better for finishing the background since you're such a large surface. And we finished it off with a little tassel, well, a big tassel, but the little details matter.
don't fall this time, but you say my name and I lose my mind. You're a bad idea again, but I always let you back in every time I say I'm done, I'm lying. You walk in the room and I'll stop trying. You're a bad idea again, but here I am at your door at 10. Guess I never learned my lesson. You're a bad
Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
idea again.